You are entering the championship rounds. The UFC's version of the Thrila in Manila was anything but thrilling. Is Frankie Edgar the number one contender? Is Urijah Faber now in weight class limbo? Plus, Ronda Rousey was on the cover of last week's Sports Illustrated. But who will benefit from it most, Ronda Rousey or the UFC?
Radio.
This is 5 Round MMA. Hello and welcome. My name is Alex Ramirez. Alongside me is my co-host Albert Cita. This is 5 Round MMA. I want to thank everybody for listening. Before we get started, I want to thank our fine line of sponsors. First with 5 Rounds Clothing Line, Redemption Martial Arts, the Army Foundation, and of course Rocking Green Eco-Friendly Cleaning Products. Albert Cita, how you doing?
I'm doing good, but I also like to mention that you need to follow Rocking Green Soap because they got deals on the weekly basis. They have a monthly deal. I guess it's always a surprise every month what type of discount they're going to get.
Also do like giveaways too.
Yeah.
Just like Facebook. There's social media. Contact them on social media.
If you're a soap guru, you need to get on that.
Yep. So conspicuous absent is your brother, our co-host Guillermo, who's out at a soccer tournament. I think soccer season is. Does soccer ever end?
It never does. But we mentioned we wear different hats. He's actually a head coach for a youth team, a club soccer team, and so he's out there in a tournament right now. That's why he can't be with us. So.
Soccer's year round, never ends.
Yeah. I think the off season's like a weekend.
Okay. I keep hearing news about some Champions League going on, and then like the Premier League. It's a lot of soccer.
Yeah. There's always soccer.
So, speaking of a lot of stuff, there's a lot of UFC going on. UFC returned to Fox Sports on Saturday morning, which is 7 a.m. West Coast time, 10 a.m. Eastern time, with the first time ever in the Philippines, in the Manila. It was the kind of throwback to the Muhammad Ali Thrilla in Manila, but it really wasn't because the main event was Urijah Faber versus Frankie Edgar. And the fight had little hype, I guess. There wasn't too much promos because the UFC knows the early morning start. Faber and Edgar are kind of like, not say past their prime, but they're kind of older fighters now.
Let's just put it this way. I think I would have been more excited about this fight 3, maybe 4 years ago. Yeah. I think now, not that these guys aren't relevant anymore, it just seems that a lot of the steam has kind of, faded away. Yeah. And it's not, you can't really get a good bite into this as you would have 3 or 4 years ago when I think both men were at his height.
Yeah, true. So Frankie's 33, Urijah Faber just turned 36.
Yeah.
The fight was kind of in and out. They're circling each other, movements, picking their shots.
It was one of those things where I kind of got mixed reviews from. I got some fighters enjoyed it because of the technical aspect of it, because of some of the positions that were put in. But then at the same time, it felt like a typical Frankie Edgar fight. And I don't know about you, but Frankie Edgar is almost on the same level as John Fitch. I'm not trying to take away from any of these fighters because I know John Fitch is super technical, and so is Frankie Edgar. But it's just that fighting style is so boring.
That's a good point. Like John Fitch is criticized for being born on the ground.
Yeah.
But can you be born on the feet?
Yeah, look at Frankie Edgar. That thing's boring. There's no it doesn't seem like there's real pepper in those punches. Yeah, the guy gets pushed back, and you see some markings where, but I don't know. It just doesn't have that viciousness in it. It's just kind of like 1, 2, 3, and then get out.
You're more of a
I don't think the fans really get what they need. But I know there's some technical aspect to it, but just it's not an entertaining fight.
Yeah, especially a main event fight.
Same thing with John Fitch. I respect John Fitch to death.
What he does,
but the guy will bore me to death. So.
The ability to keep a grown man on his back unwillingly is kind of like it takes some skill, but I guess it is kind of not fun to watch.
And on the flip side to that, though, Ben Askren actually entertains me, and even though he does pretty much what John Fitch does, so
I think Ben Askren, it's all the pre-stuff. He tells you, "I'm going to put you on the ground, put you on your back, and you're going to stay there."
And maybe that's it. See, that's what it just. And Frankie doesn't say anything.
Yeah,
come on.
Speaking of safety, he did say something after the fight. He says, "I beat one of the best in the world. I deserve a title shot." Do you agree with his statement?
Well, he got the name 2 times Edgar for no reason.
Frankie 2 times.
You got to beat him twice to shut him up. And last time I checked, he only lost to Jose Aldo once. But the best thing that can happen to him is McGregor winning. Yeah. And I think that really opens up Frankie Edgar to get in there because you have 2 guys that are technicians standing up. And maybe we'll see a non-Frankie Edgar fight and actually see him maybe more like a Greg Maynard fight. Because I thought in the Greg Maynard fight, he was more entertaining than any other fight. Yeah. So
you're saying if Aldo wins, Frankie's not next in line?
I would say if Aldo wins, it's going to be a hard sell. especially because the last fight, even though you can say, oh, it was a close fight, it wasn't that entertaining again. And will fans want to see that fight again? I don't know.
Well,
maybe.
Most logical, would it be Frankie versus Chad Mendes?
See, another alpha male lineup. But I think if Conor McGregor wins, you throw in Frankie Edgar just because he's still relevant, I think. And
that would be the ultimate test for Conor McGregor, right?
Yeah, because you got a guy that's been respected by all types of media and fighters itself. So, that makes more sense. And I just don't see Jose Aldo it's a harder sell, and the Chad Mendes route is a better certification. If he can beat Chad Mendes, there's no reason why he shouldn't get Jose Aldo.
Yeah, I can kind of see the UFC kind of leaning towards if Conor McGregor does win, and if it's kind of dominant fashion, give him Frankie Edgar first. Yeah. It'd be a good sell in the States. Frankie Edgar is pretty popular.
I think that's more ticket sales there,
Yeah, so we'll see. Urijah Faber, I want to switch over gears now. Turned 36 the weekend of the fight. Moved back up to featherweight, I think almost like a 6-year, maybe layoff. But now was unsuccessful. Didn't really look too good against Frankie Edgar. Is he now in limbo? Weight class limbo?
Yes and no.
No? Why?
No, because at 135 he's pretty much still up there. I mean, it's the only people that he needs to get over is Hannon Brow and TJ Dillashaw, who he has never fought because they're teammates, and that's pretty much it. Because if you name any other 135er, he pretty much can beat him or still needs to face them. Yeah. So in a way, he's not lost yet. Just because at that 135 division, I mean, there's still fights from there. But as far as talent contender, it's kind of hard, I guess, because this really sets him back. But I still don't see him falling off the 135 pounds. So I think he's still at 36. I think he's still there. So and he can still do one more push, like it or not.
Was this a one and done at 145?
I would think so. I think it was just one of those things where it just worked out too perfectly that you couldn't not make this fight happen.
Get that payday.
Yeah, I mean, the payday was there. They both were in the same zone as far as where they're at in their career, and the fight just made sense.
I mean, I can see that because he
and it wasn't like he brutally lost either. Let's keep that in mind too. This isn't like Shogun losing, you know. Yeah. Urijah Faber still lost, but it wasn't a devastating loss.
But it's just so kind of weird because like he was the dominant reign at 145 for so long at with WEC, where it's kind of like he done everything he could there. And then he gets to the 145. He doesn't even fight in the 145 UFC. Jose Aldo's champion. Yeah. Jose Aldo dominated him. So okay, I'm going to go down 135. He had multiple shots at 135 for the title. Couldn't get it done there. So it's kind of like, I think maybe his best bet is at bantamweight, just because you said I think he's ranked number 3 right now in the bantamweight division. I mean, you're the thick of things. You're TJ Dillashaw, Henry Barao. Knockout away from maybe getting back in there, because maybe if you say, you know what, I'm going to fight TJ Dillashaw just for the heck of it, just for the payday, get one more title shot.
Yeah. Well, the only other case I see him going to 145, let's say McGregor loses, and he calls out one of the alpha males again, and Urijah Faber steps up, I'm pretty sure that's money right there too. So it has to be a very special occasion, but I see him staying at 135.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you can make the case for both bantamweight and featherweight for Faber, but then for either one of them. But the con is you don't see him going to the title in either division. Yeah. So I think he is in limbo. It's kind of like Benson Henderson. Like you can you see division going 155 or 170. You can make the case for either one of them, but then again, do you really see him getting a title at either division again? So. I mean, I think it's the pure definition of weight class limbo, I think. I mean, he should just pick one. If he's got 145, might as well write it out for the rest of his career, but I don't see him getting a title shot anytime soon or even maybe winning it. So, moving on to one UFC fight night. Co-main event was Gegard Mousasi versus Costa Philippou. Gegard Mousasi once again proves that he's probably one of the best fighters in the world, technical-wise. But my question to you... is he winning any fans? He's doing any favor to him to get a title shot. He was unanimous decision victory over Philippou.
I think from the get-go they messed up with Mousasi. But I put him in the UFC only seen in the Fight Pass.
How many times has he fought in North American soil?
Yeah, exactly. And then he hasn't fought American. Really got a headline right here in American soil. And so I think from the get-go, I think it was kind of managed a weird way and not the best way to kind of push Gegard Mousasi. And I think this fight, if anyone saw in Fox Sports 1, didn't really help his case because it didn't really excel Gegard Mousasi. Even though it was a dominant win, it wasn't a big impact win that I think the fans needed to see just to get right behind him. So I think Gegard Mousasi is still in that weird area where he's a superstar, but he's not a star.
Yeah, almost kind of Demetrius Johnson type of gray area, right? I think we're also not going to hurt him. What's not going to help him either is that Michael Bisping called him out. And I think he said, yeah, I'll fight Bisping, but that fight's more going to happen in England.
Yeah.
So, again, not in American soil. It's going to happen in a weird time zone for Giga Mousasi. He'll probably end up, put on a clinic, but it'll be Michael Bisping, so nobody's really going to care.
Yeah,
so. Hopefully, he's got one of the best fighters in the world.
Yeah.
He's been one of the best fighters in the world.
It was one of the few fighters when they got signed. I was really excited he got signed just because I could think of the different matchups they could have done for him. And even though I've seen some good matchups with him, it's still kind of like irritating that they don't give me the Mousasi that I want. Because they keep shipping them overseas and stuff.
Yeah, he's currently ranked number 7 in the middleweight division. He has the likes of Yoel Romero, Machida, Anderson Silva for some reason still ranked in the top 4. Vitor Belfort and Jacare and Luke Rockhold. So, he does have a lot of tough matches ahead of him. But, we shall see who was next. Also, probably the feel-good story of the night was Mark Munoz, his farewell swan song. Decided to say, you know what, if this is to be the UFC debut in the Philippines, I'm kind of up there in age. I'm in my mid-30s. I have a 3-fight losing streak.
Yep.
I don't have 1 win in my last 5 fights. You know what? This is going to be my swan song. And he did what he did. The Mark Munoz of old, the one who uses his heavy hands, ground and pound, grappling.
We saw a glimpse of the old Mark Munoz.
Yeah, so he got to run off in the sunset against Luke Barnett. Just your thoughts on Munoz's decision to hang it up and his performance.
I think he did something that a lot of fighters are going to envy, and that's leaving at his terms and leaving with the win. And I think that's the problem with a lot of fighters. They don't leave on their terms, or they're searching for that last win to really close the door.
Yeah.
And because they keep searching for that, you get these devastating careers towards the end.
Mine was with example Chuck Liddell, right?
Yeah, Chuck Liddell.
Looking for that one. Let me get that one last highlight reel knockout to go in the sunset. And he ends up getting knocked out most of the time. Anyway.
And then you don't leave in the way you wanted to. Yeah. I think that goes with a lot of fighters, and I think he got the opportunity to leave not only the way he wanted to, but at the same time he left with the win. And I think a lot of fighters are going to envy that, and I think that's why it was a special moment.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was a legendary moment, but it was a special moment just because he did it his way.
Yeah.
And he came off on top. So
yeah, and his post-fight speech was amazing. Showed gratitude, appreciation, his future ambitions. So everything you could ask for in a professional athlete, a true sportsman.
Yeah, I think the only thing that would have made it a better story was if he was fighting like his stepbrother from another mother.
Is it like was it a movie called Warrior or was it called, Tom Hardy?
Yeah, that's all it was missing, and it would have been a perfect ending.
The premise of that. So that was pretty much it. The Thrila in Manila didn't really live up to it. I'm sure the highlight of the night was Mark Munoz. In front of his fellow Filipinos, because he's Filipino American. But the main event to me just didn't.
It was not a Frankie Edgar fight. That's what people say.
Yeah, I kind of wanted Faber to go out there and bang, but he's been kind of tentative now in an older age. Is that kind of is it them showing their maturity and being a wiser fighter, or were they just so good they nullified each other? Because they're kind of up there.
So, see that.
If that fight did happen 4 or 5 years ago, you just see him just like banging out.
Yeah, and that's why I brought that up. Yeah, because I do feel like that. I feel like because as Urijah Faber matures, I think, and also at the same time too, like you said, it could be a combination of both, that they're just that good that they kind of neutralize each other.
Yeah.
Because we see this all the time when it's high caliber people fighting. You're like, wait, but I saw you kill the guy. Yeah, but when you get with someone the same level, it almost kind of balances itself out, and then you kind of don't see what you expected. But at the same time, I think because they're older, they fought a smarter fight.
Yeah.
When I think if they would have fought 3-4 years ago, I think they would have slugged it out. I think Urijah Faber would have won for clean headshots. I think Frankie Edgar would have.
Put him over boxing clinic. It was I don't know. We shall see. Hopefully, the next time Frankie Edgar fights, it's a little more exciting. So stick around, guys. I want to talk about Ronda Rousey being on the Sports Illustrated cover, and it's not the swimsuit edition. So stick around. We are back. I want to thank our final line of sponsors. Start with 5 Rounds Clothing Line, rocking green eco-friendly cleaning products, and the FRMMA Foundation for allowing this show to continue between segments. So the big news, kind of like outside of MMA, but kind of the pop culture, is Ronda Rousey was on the cover of last week's Sports Illustrated, and she was named the world's most dominant athlete. A pretty big move, not only for Rousey, but for the support of MMA. But Albertita, I ask you this. Who's going to benefit from it more? Miss Rousey herself, or the UFC and the Fertitas, Dana White, or the sport of MMA? Who's gonna like?
No. This 100% helps Ronda Rousey, and I don't think it really helps UFC that much, just because.
Well, she has UFC on her chest, on her shorts.
I saw what they were going for.
Yeah.
I don't think it played like that. I think it's more for herself. I mean, Ronda Rousey getting the kudos here, and I think it's really to push that book.
Yeah.
And as far as UFC, I mean, I don't think it really does anything for UFC. Just because what is there to say? We already know who Ronda Rousey is. Whatever. It's just another achievement for her, I think.
Another trophy for trophy.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it felt like more to me. And it's an impressive trophy that she got, but at the same time, I think it was more for her than anybody else.
Yeah, so you don't think maybe the UFC will get a boost from it?
No, I doubt it.
How is it kind of different from the first time? Because this is the second time a mixed martial artist has been on the cover of Sports Illustrated. The first time being our boy Roger Huerta.
Yeah.
Back in 2007. But that was kind of a more that centerpiece was more on the sport of MMA and the evolution in the UFC. So it's kind of different. That's more of a cover sport. This is more just Rousey driven.
Yeah, see, that's what I think. That's a perfect example, because I think not only did that Sports Illustrated Roger Huerta did good for Roger Huerta.
Yeah.
I think it did good for the UFC, just because people were like, "Whoa, dude, this guy's in the UFC," and I had never even seen him before.
Yeah.
Well, Ronda Rousey, I'm pretty sure you can go to anybody that's not even a fan, then they'll know who she is.
Yeah, or I'm pretty sure the casual. Oh, that's a Ronda. She does UFC, right?
Yeah,
as opposed to she trains MMA. Yeah, she does UFC, right? So, and the one thing, a little side note about Roger Huerta, I think he did kind of take that cover a little bit to, if you read about he passed the UFC, he thought he should get more money for his contract.
Yeah.
Because he was on the cover, but then it was a UFC piece, not a piece on Roger Huerta himself. But hey, I'm still a Roger Huerta fan. You probably see him in ONE FC fighting all over Asia for Tiger Muay Thai. But yeah, I think so. I think this is a bigger kudos to Rousey. Not so much the UFC and the support of MMA is not really going to feel much from it. It's not something you see the cover. Bellator.
In the article itself, again,
it was all Rousey.
Yeah, I think if it pushed more about like fighter, kind of a fighter diary or something like that, maybe, but.
Maybe even like the women's division, it was basically more how dominant she is and how like the original division and all.
So I think it helps her more as a brand.
I mean, she has the book just came out last week. She has Entourage in a couple weeks. So
Entourage. If anything, the UFC logo and stuff like that, I think it just stamps that she is the face of the UFC as far as women go.
Yeah.
Because I think now it's like hand in hand. You see Ronda Rousey, it's UFC.
Yeah.
You think UFC women's division, you think Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
So
I think
it's just a stamp.
They even touched on how much money she makes outside. Like majority of her income comes from the outside of the UFC. So she's basically a part-time fighter and a full-time entertainer right now, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just like she's making more money. Doing also on the outside as opposed to actually fighting.
So
we shall see. So the other big news I want to talk about is probably the most influential athletic commission when it comes to combat sports, the Nevada Athletic Commission. People kind of say Nevada is the home of boxing, the home of MMA, right? So they this week revamped their punishment system for future drug offenders, whether it be PEDs.
And you can see that breakdown on 5roundmma.com.
Yes, there is so it's going to be in 5 categories.
Yeah, if you want to get real detail and see all the stuff, you go 5roundmma.com and check it out.
Yeah, so 5 categories, going to each with corresponding punishment. So there's one category for anabolic steroids, one for stimulants, one for sedatives, including cannabis, another one for diuretics to use to cut weight, and another category for people who just avoid testing or just give fake urine samples. So basically, each one of them has a different tiers of offense: first offense, second offense, and the third offense being the lifetime ban. A percentage of the purse is getting fined. So, but what I thought interesting to me is that the category for muscle relaxant, sleep aids, and cannabis, that actually has 4 tiers, where every other category has 3 tiers. So, is that kind of something you want to see there? Because it's kind of like the biggest hiccup.
I kind of like it because, one, that's usually the number one thing that people get caught with.
If you're a Nick Diaz fan,
and 2, it kind of makes sense because they're kind of, it's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah.
If you're getting 4 strikes here. I mean, if they really thought it was a huge dilemma and a huge thing in the sport.
It would have been one and done, right?
Yeah, exactly. So by them putting 4, I think they acknowledge, hey, we understand that it's not that big of a deal, but you still shouldn't do it. And the second thing is, it's the most common thing I think people get caught with.
Especially with there's so many states who are passing the legal use for marijuana, and especially a lot of states use it for medical purposes only. I mean, so what's to say if I live in, if I live in California, like Nick Diaz, where it's legal in California to do it. and he's been looking for medical purposes for a long time. He smokes it, in his free time, like you said, to help him relax for anxiety issues. But then he has to fight in Nevada.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you fall into different rules here. So I mean,
for now, I think I agree with each.
Yeah. Do you like this?
I agree with it. I agree with some of the punishment. Some of them are harsh, but hey, that's how you get the word across.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're too harsh. We're like, come on, man, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
For the most part, I agree with it. I do think they should challenge the cannabis thing, but maybe it kind of tweak it a little bit. I don't think it should even be grouped. I think it should be a subgenre, saying something like within the fight week or something. Do not take anything at all. But but other than that, I mean, it looked fair to me.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be adjustments as well to the out of competition testing, because obviously remember the John Jones tested positive for cocaine, but it was out of competition, so there's a lot of fight. So they're gonna revamp that, and all these punishments and the revamps are going to take effective in September 1st of this year. Also, one thing I kind of noted too was the little in the language here is that if a fighter tests positive after a fight, and if he wins, his win is now considered a loss instead of no contest, and the losing fighter gets a no contest. So they're taking your record, they're taking your legacy here, not just a fight. And everything, right?
That's the one thing I don't agree with, because it should just be a no contest, because it's just one of those things where there was no winner and there was no loser.
Yeah.
Because the person that lost, and if the other guy cheated in some way, you still didn't beat him, even though the guy cheated. So I always agree with that no contest automatically in case one of them cheated, just because there's no winners and losers when it comes to that type of.
It's almost like in college sports when like a program gets caught for handing out donations or whatever, and they're like, you're gonna forfeit all your wins from 2000 to 2002.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like last I saw, the stadium was packed.
Exactly.
I saw the final score.
I'd rather just put like a little gray check mark saying, "Look, it was a no contest."
Like, how do you know you got lost now? Well, no, I knocked the guy out. Well,
imagine if they would have said, "You know what, Tom Brady, because you cheated, you got caught cheating. The Super Bowl win
Hey, what are you
is
talking about,
now
Tom Brady?
lost."
Got cheating what? How did he cheat?
He deflated the balls.
No.
Everybody knows.
He misinterpreted the rules. Tom Brady. Also, one final note I want to talk about too is a bit of sad news too is the death of former UFC fighter and tough veteran Corey Hill, who died at the age of 36 after a long battle of it was kind of conflicting reports a little bit. There was pneumonia, then there's a heart attack, and then a lung collapse. But he did pass Friday. Unfortunate news, but kind of thing I want to talk about was like the reporting of it. A lot of people were kind of rushing to get the news that he did die, and his wife had to come out and say, no, he's alive, just pray for him. And then you had to go a long way to find two different websites that had the exact same thing, and it wasn't until TMZ Sports actually got a quote from his wife saying, yeah, he did pass. But just kind of thought about the whole media as like the rush to be first, but I think it's almost you got to be right. First, right?
I think the problem is a lot of people try to put the whole story out there before getting the whole story, instead of just doing like a headline, kind of like, there's possible rumors that Corey Hill has passed away, or Corey Hill is in critical condition, something like that, not like blatantly lie, or make something up.
Rush to it, but super unfortunate. I mean, kind of with Corey, he was known too for also breaking his leg pretty bad. Yeah, but
and he's also part of one of the most famous Tough Enoughs, which is Ultimate Fighter Season 5, which was with BJ Penn and Jens Pulver. I mean, we saw a bunch of people come out of there. Gray Maynard. I think
the winner Nate Diaz.
Nate Diaz came out.
I think he did lose in the tournament to Nate Diaz, the eventual champion. So, but I mean, thoughts and prayers to his family. Corey Hill's super unfortunate situation. That's something we had to talk about today. I think that's it for today. I want to thank all of our listeners and all of our sponsors with 5 Rounds Clothing Line, Rock and Green eco-friendly cleaning products, and of course the RMA Foundation, Rise Up Against Bullying. Till then, make sure to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, stalk us on Instagram.
We don't mind it.
Subscribe to us on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, and always check out 5roundmma.com. Albert, what do you got?
I'd just like to thank everybody for listening. I'd like to thank our engineer out there, Big Game, for helping us out. Thanks everybody for listening. Someone should say cream of the crop, right?
Guillermo's not here. Well, we should have a phone call.
I don't know. Lights out.
Time to get grimy.